Well met, everyone. I am Rich the Lich, and today I'm going to be building an adventure in real time. I don't know what the adventure is for. I don't know that this is going to be something I'm going to bring to my table. I don't even know what world it's in. But as you know me by now, I always start small, so I can always expand from there. As long as I leave some of the names and NPCs involved relatively free, I don't have to confine them to any specific setting. I don't have to say this is an adventure in Sharn, because if I do, that already speaks to me, or informs me, I should say, that I'm going to be using Eberron and so on. So the other thing that's interesting here is I'm going to do this in real time. I'm going to set this for 20 minutes. So I have a little tracker. I'm going to have a little timer counting down on screen, and you will see that you can come up with enough that you can chew on in 20 minutes of time. The intention here is to create something interesting that I could bring to my table if my session was tonight, let's say, in 20 minutes or less. In 3, 2, 1. Timer's counting down. Always take 10 seconds. To fuel up. Let's open up Photoshop. Adobe Photoshop. I'm going to use this as my big interface. I know I always talk about the 5-point bullet system and things like that, but I'm going to do this instead. New 2560. These are some default template sizes I use all the time. Get your labeling right. It's going to take you an extra 10 seconds, but it's much better. Okay, so let's do some bullets. I know I want 2, 3. I want a map. I need a fight. Let's do another bullet. I need the other 2 pillars. So I need something interesting that deals with the social and the explore part of gameplay in D&D. And then the last one is some sort of a wrap-up. Like a consistent way of bringing about some interesting story that can lead into the next session, right? To see where that goes. Okay, so that's what I need. Let's make another one. I messed that up. Control N, and we'll go here. We're going to make a map. Let's do this. Change my brush. Nice and big. We'll label this guy back. Sketch. Whatever. Skirch. This will be my area that we're talking about. Okay, and I'm going to chop away at it just to pretty it up a bit. I'm going to do this. This design is starting to inform something to me, though. It's just where my mind is going. And that's the beauty of doing something like this, especially on a time constraint, is I'm not taking a lot of time to be analytical about it. And whether, ooh, does that make sense? Does that look like this? Okay, so good. Here's the other thing I'm going to need really quick, is I'm going to need some sort of a scale indication. So I'm going to just say it's about like this. And we'll say that this is 100 feet. Okay, so you can tell we're not making a continent here, right? This is not a world, all right? So now that I have this, okay, let's go with grassland or something like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a image adjust hue saturation. We're going to colorize this guy. We're going to make it like that, kind of a muted grassland. That'll work like that. That works, okay? So we're going to make some details, and then we're going to use our black. Let's see where we are. I'm going to make a few kind of forested areas over here. Go like this. We're going to start taking this lasso tool and moving this guy around. Oops. Control J. Should move it up here. Transform it. Move it down here. I'm all over the place. Sorry. I want to do this. The problem here is I'm reaching over my Wacom tablet to move things around. So we'll move this down here. We'll make a couple of new ones. Connect the dots, if you will. Make this a big forested area. Good enough. What are we at on time? Okay, we're about 4 minutes in. Okay, so that works for now. I think I'm going to go with the sort of an entry point into the map. So we're going to go kind of here, and then we'll snake, and we'll say that that sort of ends there, and there's a road that goes through here. We'll go here. Just a road that snakes through the town, the city, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so we're going to go some buildings and set. That's a horrible perspective, so ignore that, right? Let's just go here. Good enough. Okay, this is different shops and things like this. And then we'll say there's a couple others right here. Remember, this is 100 feet right there, so decent size. I mean, we've got enough to, you know, multiple minutes of walking. We're going to say that there's some sort of like a market right here in the center. And then there's like some stalls, you know, like a farmer's market style, right? Vendors and farmers and whatnot that are selling, you know, jerky and fruits and vegetables. Maybe there's even one guy who's kind of showing off how cool the sword he made is, you know, and I worked for the king long ago and buy my swords and, you know, whatever the hell, right? So there's this little market square, and then there's these different buildings and various points of interest over here. We're going to make a river outside. It kind of snakes its way through. We'll put this on a new layer. So there's a river that kind of snakes its way through the village, like meh. Let's go back here. Okay, we're not gonna have a lot of time to really pretty this up at all, but you get it. Okay, it's just a small, maybe a stream, like a little brook or something like this that snakes its way through. You can almost even, you know, jump over it. It's not a big deal. The kids play in it all the time. You know, they make these little wooden boats and you know, what are they, whittling? I think the wood carving thing, whatever it's called. You know, and kids will build these little wooden boats and they'll float them down this little brook. You know, it's a play point. Aha! I just thought of something. That might be the catalyst for my adventure. So we're going to color this in a little bit, right? Just to indicate that it's a little bit different, right? It's mostly green, grassland, whatever you want to call it, but we're kind of in here. Okay, so we got some houses, some residences and such. We don't need to obsess about things too much from here. Some of these buildings look terrible, but that's okay. So we've got, I need to give myself some sort of a launching point mentally. A brook or a stream. I don't know what the difference is, guys, geographically of like what the hell's called what. So this is definitely going to be the road. So we're going to go, where's the road? Where's my road? There it is. I'm going to use my different brush here. Get off the road, quick. What was I saying? I'm frantic. I don't know what I was saying. Doesn't matter. I'm going to use... Okay, so there's a brook, stream, river. We're going to say this is the market. And these are residences. Right here. And then these are the public buildings. Right, so we'll say these are like the inns and the taverns and such. Okay? I don't know what this is, whatever. And then you get little, I don't know, large crop, you know, trees and whatnot, where the kids make tree houses and random crap like that. Okay, so we're good. We're good there. Okay, so there's our sort of overarching map. What happens is, let's go back to my bullets. Okay, we have a map, check. A fight. We'll go here. About halfway. Okay, our fight. Kids find orc crest floating in brook. It belongs to chief's son. The orc chief's son. The elders in the village. So bullet points here. Let's go. The elders know of the chief. The kids have no idea. They maybe have heard of some monstrous thing, but they don't even know what the hell an orc is necessarily. They've never seen one. The elders know of the chief. What does that mean? So we're going to do this. So the chief's son lost, dead. Why was this like this key item from the chief? It basically signifies him as royalty among the orc clans, right? But that might do something in the wrap up. Okay, so what's the fight? I think we're gonna say that. I know. Let's go to D&D Beyond. We're gonna do orc. Bam, right here. We're gonna do this guy. So we're gonna print screen. Oh, that was that's the print screen. Okay, I want to make sure I'm still recording. We're gonna go in here. We're going to make another pretty page. We're going to move this around. We're going to take this orc, Control X, Control V, go like this, go here. Okay, so we've got the orc. Let's zoom in a bit. There he is. Okay, and we're going to say that it's times 6. All right, we'll skew the CR stuff later on, don't worry, or we'll figure out how challenging this fight. Who's this guy? CR2? What's the regular orc? 1/2. Ooh, this is good. This is good. So he's not going to be the chief, but he's going to be sort of the lieutenant, if you will. He's important, right? So I got the story. I have it right now. Control V. So, oops. Where's my thing? Oh, I thought I messed up. Sorry. Orc Claw. I need to make sure get my stats straight. There's the Orc Claw right here. Actually, we don't need to make it smaller. There he is. Okay. So, this is times 1. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this sheet printed out as my reference. So, what I'm going to have is I'm just going to simply have 15 hit points. So, guy number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 15 HP. See, so you can see I already have like some reference points at the table. And then we've got guy number 1 times 1. He's got 45 hit points. Now what I'm going to have is I've got little Pathfinder pawns, right, at the table with these little standy miniature things, whatever. And then on each of these, there is always a number, right? So if I have another one of these on the table, for example, it's like that. There's little numbers on them. So that way I just immediately identify. So when my ranger in the party is like, hey, I want to shoot guy number 3. Okay, cool. I can just track and I know that it's talking about this guy's hit points. And track it that way. See? So I've got these little tracker sheets already. Good to go. Now, here's the, let's go back to my bullets. All right, I'm not going to worry about what that's from. Where's my bullets? Okay, here we go. So here's what happens in the fight. We don't know the fate of the chief's son. Okay? I need a map. Sorry. Let's do this. Real quick. Actually, you know what? Hold on. I have it. We're going to use a version of this. So we're going to layer, flatten image. And we're going to take this, Control A, Control C, Shift, Control N. Nope, wrong thing. Control N. We'll bring this guy in. Okay? I don't need all of this stuff as much anymore. The labels as much. Okay, so we're going to go here and we're going to color over all this crap just to clear it up a little bit. We know kind of what's here. You kind of have like, on the D&D modules, you've got the, I have 6 minutes, damn it. You have those little points where it tells you like, this is the player's version of the map and here's the DM's version of the map. So, okay, so we've got this going on, right? I think what I'm going to say is, let's start getting some red for the bad guys. All right. So we're going to go, we'll call this the letter O, 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 Oh, 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 it's magic. Is that the song? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? That's how many I said. Where are they? I'm confused, man. There he is. Yeah, 6 of them, 1 claw. So not this map. Where's the other one? I should be labeling these damn things so I can find... You know what? Nah, I'm not going to worry about it. I think it's 4. There's my map. So there's 6 of the orcs, and then the claw is right here. He's the leader. So here's the story, okay? The orcs, the chieftain knows, the DM knows what's happened to his son. The little kids just happen to be playing in this little brook, in this river. You know, they're playing their little wooden boat races. And they find this orc crest and, Father, what's this? And he hands it to him and he's like, don't touch that, boy. Where'd you find that? And then he gives that to the elder and so on and so forth. And then the elders are like, this is the crest of the son of the orc chief Gargamok in the north. And then they start to kind of, of course, there's whispers and rumors and all this stuff. And, the town hall right here closes down for the day and no children allowed. And, bring out the ale and the stew and all this stuff. And they're sitting down and they're having a town hall meeting, basically. And they discuss, oh my gosh, what's going on? What's next? What's next? At the same time, the PCs have arrived into this area. So the PCs, that was terrible, are in area for 2 days. Okay? Nearby to here, and we can always put this on the regular map, right? So we can say this is the direction of the Dungeon of Cool. Right? It just gives a reason why the PCs are here. It's been a long journey. This could be your, what is it? Not Winterfell. Is it Winterfell, I think? This is your northern place where everyone is just freezing to death. And this is the, the settlement here, the villages, hamlets, no city nearby at all. The nearest city is 120 miles away. Everything here is 38 miles apart, right? So you're just lucky to finally find a place where you can get, in front of a warm fire and some warm food in your belly. So the PCs stop in here, and then they notice that when they walk in, right, and I can start putting these notes. The PCs are in town for 2 days. Folk are skittish. And there's where we get the adventure hooks for this particular adventure situation for tonight's session. And PCs are like, what the hell's going on? Why is everyone like boarded up and no kids are playing? What normally happens in this village? Oh, well, they usually take travelers in and they're really cautious. They're not very trustworthy, but they get some people that want to stop in and, purchase some goods and food. That's why there's the farmer's market during the daytime and so on and so forth. But tonight, the kids aren't out playing and the PCs are like, what's going on, right? They do some investigate checks. And that's where now we start getting into social stuff. Okay, so I filled that. So PCs investigate. That says investigate. The slow, if not cautious, nature of people in this town. And we're going to call this Borenbach. I don't know why. Village. Good enough. Okay. So they're investigating, and that's part of the social thing. The NPCs don't want to give a lot of information. I have 1:57 seconds. They don't want to give a lot of information. They don't want to say anything at all about what's going on, because they believe that the orcs are something that's sort of their problem, right? That's their regional problem. Maybe was even a half orc once guarded Borenbach, exiled, and rallied Orc clan. I saw something recently, I don't know, some inspiration where it talked about, matter of fact, it was a video on Vietnam about how the guy had mentioned something along the lines of, we created the Viet Cong to a certain extent. Our presence there started to make the locals into people that were fighting against us. So the idea that there's a half-orc that once guarded Borenbach, right? And he may have done something wrong, whatever, but the elders, everyone else, no one liked this guy. So they kicked him out, they exiled him. And sort of as like a vengeance point, as revenge, he was like, fine, what I'm going to do is he went up and he's got some uncles along his orc bloodline, and he rallied up the orc clans. And so ever since then, this orc clan has been threatening and harassing the village of Borenbach, sort of just to get back for how they treated the half-orc of them, right? So this village believes that the orcs are their problem, their own problem, okay? So what I'm going to do, because I got 20 seconds left, is I'm just going to say that that's the reason why they're being reluctant and asking for the PCs for help. But what happens is the chief has sent some of his best forces, which is why we've got that orc claw guy as the sort of lieutenant to oversee the 6 troops, are going to the village to figure out if this village had anything to do with the kidnapping and loss of his son. There's my map. You know the fight. 7 orcs come in. It may be a social thing. We may be able to deal with the PCs if they literally just fight. If they kind of get to, maybe one of those orcs of the 6 is the half-orc that got exiled. And they're like, the elders are like, defend yourselves, the orcs are coming. We recognize him. We didn't mean it. Sorry, we didn't mean to mistreat you, blah, blah, blah. And they're trying to, what is it? Assuage this word. The situation a little bit. I think that's the word. That looks like sausage. But they're trying to ease the tension of the situation a little bit, right? And maybe by just simply saying, we found this in the river, we don't know what it means, we have nothing to do with it. But the orcs aren't going to believe that. The orc claw, he's Lurtz. He's the Uruk-hai guy. He doesn't give a damn. He's just basically going to be like, why do you have this? Give it to me. This is, and it's the orc chief's son pendant or something that he wears. And why does the kid have that, right? So now that brings the family in threat because the kid gave it to his father, the father gave it to the elders, but then the orcs demand, like if the PCs, are trying to just negotiate because maybe they believe that this fight is something beyond them, this foe is beyond you. They might start to feel like, dude, give him the pendant, just give it to him. And he's like, who had it? Who found it? But the orcs don't have that clarity of intelligence, maybe, or if that's the word, to kind of think through. They just think the kid took it out of the river. I want the kid now. And of course, the father's going to be like, no way, hell no, you're not taking my kid. He just found it. We're giving it to you. Leave us alone. Move on. No, give us the kid now. Why does he have it? Where did he find it? They're not going to believe him when he just found it in a river. He was playing. It was coming through the brook. No, the kid took it he found the chief's son dying in the woods and he stole, you know what I mean? That type of story. But that's where we can have some wrap up now. And what happens is we've got a little bit of social because there's that interaction where it doesn't just have to be orcs come into the village roll initiative. And the sort of wrap up can start to be a little bit of exploration because if maybe the PCs, the elders, hire them in a way, or they say, we'll give you all the hospitality you need. And we found some stuff in the Dungeon of Cool, or we know that there's a secret way to, not just a key. You need to unlock the sigil rune sequence on the door to get into that dungeon that you guys want to get into. We know the password to that. We'll share that with you. So now the village now becomes the central hook. It becomes more important than the dungeon because the village is one of the bullet points the PCs need to check off before they can get to the dungeon. So now they're interested in helping the folk here at the village. And so what happens is they can say, the locals, the elders can say, we'll give you the key sequence. If now that we know that you're here because you ultimately want to go to the Dungeon of Cool, we'll help you into the Dungeon of Cool. Help us with one thing. Explore and find evidence that the damn chief's son is not up in the woods so that these orcs can leave. Maybe the orcs say, fine, we're not going to attack, but we want your kid because we believe he's lying. How the hell does he have this amulet of the chief's son? He found the chief's son somewhere. Maybe they sabotaged the chief's son and they poisoned him. Maybe the chief's son is a 7-year-old orc, right? So it's possible that a group of, mischievous kids in the village of Borenbach could have messed with this young orc kid. Now you have the exploration aspect because now the PCs want to explore the local woods, and that's indicated to me because I drew it in green and I have some trees and stuff. So we know that there's some forest out there, and that's sort of the separating point between the village of Borenbach and the Dungeon of Cool. Okay? So maybe now we have that exploration point where the PCs can try and figure out however you want to come up with it. As a DM, you give them some hooks, but let the PCs come up with whatever interesting way they want to prove to the orcs, who basically say, fine, we're not going to kidnap your kid yet, but you have 2 days. We're going to camp outside in the woods, and we're just going to sit here and watch you and monitor you until you prove to us that you just truly found that. And you had nothing to do with the chief's son being lost, right? Maybe the half-orc is the one who facilitates this, as he's sort of the more intelligent one. Okay? But yet, he has there's an interesting dynamic there, because he used to be a guard of Borenbach. He used to be on the human side of society. Now he's on the orc clan side of society. So he's our key NPC, is this half-orc. He's the sort of linchpin to the whole thing. Okay? So anyway, now we have the exploration part. The social part is this whole dynamic of discussion that's that's something different than just straight fight. Now, I did say I want to fight, so maybe we do have a fight with like 2 or 3 orcs. Or there's a fight that happens and maybe 1 or 2 orcs die. But the PCs quickly realize these guys are freaking tough. Like that orc claw guy, that's overwhelming. And so the PCs are like, that's it. Stop. We've lost. Yeah, we killed 2 orcs among the 6 and the orc claw, but 7 villagers died in that fight. The orc claw just charged the weakest of the groups, and they're smashing. It's not worth it. So there's a fight, but then we transition into the social part of it. And for wrap up, we have an entire session now that we can plan on. What's up with the chief's son? Did the kids truly find it? What are the results of this exploration? I know the video went more than 20 minutes, but notice it's not attached to a world. So I can easily insert this into Eberron, into the rubble belts of Ravnica, or whatever. There's certain places, somewhere in Wildemount, your own world, Forgotten Realms. I mean, hell, this can go anywhere in Forgotten Realms. Just let yourself flow. I think when you put a clock on sometimes, also it gives you a time constraint, obviously. And it just gets you out of too much of the minutia. I know I spent time after the clock stopped because I want to sort of explain where I went with this. But it gets you out of the minutia when you're creating. And I think when you get bogged down in the minutia during creation, it stifles creation. So allow yourself to be a little free. I take this and I extrapolate this into 2-3 hours of work, and I've got a decent session. So preparation, folks, for a DM, new or otherwise, is not as hard as you think. Yes, I'm using Wacom and the fanciness of D&D Beyond, but have your parchment, have your graph paper, have your pen and pencil, have your dice near you, and have your player's handbook and monster manual nearby. And you can do the exact same thing. So that's it for today's video. Thanks everyone for watching, and take care.